Have you ever felt an unshakable pull towards someone, one you can't explain, name, or prove, only to be met with silence? You sense a connection in your bones, but he gives no clear sign. He seems distant, logical, maybe even unaware. You wonder, does he feel it too? Is this all in my head? The ache of uncertainty weighs on your heart, and you're left decoding silence like it's a secret language only you speak. Today, Spiritual Universe invites you into a hidden dimension of the masculine soul, one rarely discussed and almost never understood. In this video, you'll uncover the 6 silent ways the divine masculine feels your connection. These aren't obvious signs. They don't show up as love letters or grand gestures. They emerge as whispers from his higher self, encoded in dreams, moments of stillness, déjà vu, and unspoken knowing. If you've ever doubted whether he feels the same cosmic pull you do, this video will shift everything. By the end of this journey, you'll no longer mistake his silence for absence. You'll begin to read the invisible language of love your souls are already speaking. You'll stop waiting for him to say the words and start feeling the truth already unfolding beneath the surface. This isn't about fantasy, it's about resonance. Once you understand how the divine masculine experiences the bond, you'll hold your connection with more trust, clarity, and peace than ever before. Stay with us until the end of this video. You're not here by accident. Your soul brought you to this exact moment for a reason. Number 1. Emotional echoes through music. When the universe speaks in sound, there are moments in life when the universe chooses not to speak through visions, dreams, or numbers, but through something far more subtle, sound. And for the divine masculine, this sound often comes wrapped in melody. He isn't looking for signs. He's simply living, driving down a familiar road, sipping his morning coffee, letting a random playlist run in the background while he unwinds after a long day. But then, it happens. A song begins to play. He didn't pick it. He wasn't even paying attention. But suddenly, one line slices through the ordinary, like lightning through silence. A lyric so precise, so soul-stirring, it pulls him into a memory that wasn't at the surface a second ago. And just like that, she returns to him, not physically but energetically, in the space between notes. It's not the first time. In fact, this song, or another with the same essence, has found him before. Different settings, different moods, but always the same emotional echo, a tightening in his chest, a pause in his breath, a wave of longing that defies logic. It's never planned, yet it always feels purposeful. He begins to ask himself, how can something so random feel so targeted, so intimate, so eerily timed? Why does it always circle back to her? Because it isn't random. These melodies are more than background noise. They are spiritual messengers, whispers from the divine, wrapped in rhythm and tone. The universe knows that while his mind may resist, his soul still listens. And music, with its infinite power to bypass logic, becomes the secret language of love he cannot ignore. Every lyric, every harmony, every familiar refrain is a bridge, a sacred portal reminding him that this connection didn't fade. It only tucked itself away, waiting for the moment his heart was soft enough to hear again. Hidden in frequencies, this love hums in the background of his life, waiting for him to remember not with his mind, but with his soul. Before we move forward, take a moment to reflect. Has music ever spoken to you in this way? Have you ever heard a song that felt like it was written just for your soul, arriving at the perfect moment to stir something deep within you? These aren't coincidences. They're spiritual echoes, calling you back to a connection that still lives in your energy. We'd love to hear your experiences. Share your story in the comments, or simply affirm this truth by typing, "The song remembers for me." Your voice matters, and your journey may be the mirror someone else needs today. Number 2. the discomfort in crowds, the peace in solitude. There comes a moment on the soul's journey when what once felt like life now feels like noise. The same laughter-filled rooms, the vibrant gatherings, the endless conversations that once energized him, suddenly begin to feel foreign. There was a time he thrived in motion, in distraction, in the buzz of parties and the comfort of familiar chaos. Those environments helped him escape the quiet ache he carried, the void left by her absence, and the questions he wasn't yet ready to face within himself. They were a temporary relief, a way to outrun the pull of something deeper. But one day, the shift begins, and it is subtle at first. The music that once moved him now irritates his senses. The banter that used to bring him joy starts to feel surface level, disconnected. He finds himself fidgeting in conversations that used to make him feel alive. And though he cannot explain it to others, the same places that once made him feel seen now leave him feeling invisible, exhausted, and misplaced. So he begins to withdraw, not from life, but from illusions. Not out of sadness, but out of a soul-level reorientation. He doesn't retreat to escape the world, he retreats to finally meet himself. The solitude he once feared becomes sacred. A morning bathed in golden stillness, the whisper of wind through the trees, a silent room lit by soft shadows. These become his new companions, and in that quiet, something stirs. It is her, not physically but energetically, spiritually. He feels her presence in the hush between thoughts, in the breath that slows when he lets go. It's not her voice he hears, but her frequency he senses, a soul connection that transcends logic or proximity. In the past, he sought connection in crowds. Now, he finds it in silence. The stillness that once felt empty now feels like home. It is here, in the peace of solitude, that he feels closest to her, not in a way that craves or aches, but in a way that knows, that remembers, that honors. Because true connection doesn't scream, it whispers. And in this new space of inner quiet, he finally has the ears to hear it. Number 3. Unfinished conversations that echo. Not all conversations are meant to conclude. Some live on long after the words have stopped, looping softly in the quiet corners of his mind. What remains isn't a script, but fragments, fleeting moments woven with emotion. A shared laugh that now feels like medicine. A pause, heavy with vulnerability, that he didn't fully recognize at the time. The unique tone of her voice, gentle, certain, unshakably familiar. These memories rise like sacred scrolls in his memory, slow and intentional, as if time itself preserved them for this very moment. Back then, he didn't grasp their weight. Words passed between them with grace, but not always with understanding. Now, in stillness and reflection, each phrase unveils its deeper meaning. What once sounded simple now reveals layers. Truths buried in casual conversation now bloom like ancient wisdom. He doesn't hear her voice because he's stuck in the past. He hears her because her essence lives within him. In the quiet, when no one is watching, he sometimes repeats her words, not out of longing, but from a place of soul recognition. It's not just memory, it's presence. Her voice lingers in his inner sanctuary, not as a ghost, but as a guide. She speaks to him through the world, a line in a movie, a phrase overheard from a stranger, a lyric that lands too perfectly. In those moments, he doesn't question it. He doesn't search for logic. He simply knows. She is with him again. This isn't obsession. It's sacred resonance, a soul memory that continues to unfold. She has become part of his internal language, woven into his consciousness. And while he may never speak these truths aloud, while his outer world may never reflect this inner unfolding, something within him is always listening. Because deep down, he knows. Those words, those exchanges, those sacred pauses, they were never meant to fade. They were meant to echo, to awaken, to guide him home. He was standing in line at a bookstore one rainy afternoon when it happened. The woman in front of him, without warning, turned to her friend and said a phrase that caught him off guard. Sometimes, love isn't about holding on. It's about remembering who you were when you loved them. His heart paused. Those were her words. Not verbatim, but close enough to stir something ancient within him. He was taken back to a night under the stars when she said something strikingly similar as they lay side by side, hearts open, futures uncertain. He didn't fully understand her then. He wasn't ready. But now, in that mundane moment, surrounded by strangers and silence, her truth echoed back with piercing clarity. It wasn't nostalgia. It was awakening. A reminder that her voice had never really left. It had simply become a part of how he now sees the world. In that bookstore line, with a paperback in his hand and the sound of rain tapping the windows, he felt her presence more clearly than ever. And for the first time, he didn't ache for her return. He simply honored the echo. Number 4. Sudden emotional shifts without cause. Have you ever felt an unexplainable wave of emotion wash over you, one that had no clear beginning, no identifiable source? One moment, you're going about your day, and the next, a deep sense of longing overtakes you, or a sudden calm settles into your chest. There's no visible trigger, no conversation, no event to pin it on. And yet, something inside you has undeniably shifted. It's not stress, it's not exhaustion, it's not even your own emotion. It's energetic, it's spiritual, it's her. For the divine masculine, this experience is both confusing and undeniable. These emotional waves arrive like whispers from an invisible world. They are not born of logic, but of soul connection. Even if he doesn't fully understand it, his spirit is tuned into hers, sensitive not through conscious thought, but through the silent language of energy. When she is anxious, he feels unsettled. When she weeps, an unexplained heaviness anchors his chest. When she is at peace, his world becomes quieter, lighter, more bearable. Her longing calls to him in the form of restlessness, as if something within is aching for movement, for change, for reunion. At first, he brushes it off, telling himself it's just mood swings, just the weight of daily life. But eventually, the pattern reveals itself. These shifts are not random, they're rhythmic, predictable in their unpredictability. And over time, he begins to notice a strange synchronicity, how these feelings align with moments she later confesses to having thought of him, dreamt of him, or cried for him. He doesn't need to admit it out loud to know. This is real. What he's feeling is not his alone. It's a shared experience, woven through the unseen bond they carry. These emotional shifts are not coincidences. They are sacred signals from the soul, echoes of her presence reverberating through the invisible thread that binds them. And though he may never speak of it, deep down, there's always a quiet knowing that whispers, "It's her." If you've made it this far, it's likely because something deep within you resonates with these unspoken shifts, those quiet emotional waves that seem to appear from nowhere, yet feel like messages from beyond. Maybe you felt them too, a sudden ache, a soothing calm, or a moment of inexplicable knowing. This isn't just your imagination, it's the soul remembering. If this touched something in you, take a moment to reflect. Have you experienced these sacred emotional echoes before? We'd love to hear your story in the comments below, or simply type, "My soul feels the shift," to affirm that you recognize this powerful, unseen connection. Your voice might just echo someone else's truth. Number 5. animals acting strangely around him, when nature becomes the messenger. Have you ever noticed how animals respond not to your words, but to something deeper, something invisible, yet undeniably real? For him, these moments arrive unexpectedly. A stray dog pauses mid-step and stares not in fear, but with a quiet recognition, as if it sees something in him he hasn't even fully seen in himself. A bird returns, day after day, to perch outside his window, as though delivering an unspoken message. A butterfly lands beside him while he's deep in thought, reminding him of beauty, of stillness, of presence. At first, he dismisses these as coincidences, strange but forgettable. But the signs don't stop. In fact, they grow more frequent, more precise. Animals, unlike people, don't get distracted by masks or ego. They are pure instinct, tuned in to energy, not appearances. And something in his field has shifted. Something sacred awakened the moment he met her. Or maybe it was the moment he tried to forget her. Either way, the energy within him is no longer the same. It pulses differently. It vibrates with longing, with memory, with spiritual connection. And the creatures of the natural world can feel it. They're not confused by it. They're drawn to it. They see what he can't yet explain, that his soul is aligning with something greater, something destined. These animal encounters aren't accidents. They are mirrors of transformation. Each time a wild creature pauses near him, it is as if the universe is whispering, "You are not alone. You are seen. You are part of something unfolding." Nature, in its infinite wisdom, becomes the messenger, reminding him through instinct and presence that the path he's on is real. That the woman who stirred this awakening in him is not just a memory, but a thread intricately woven into the rhythm of his life. And whether he accepts it now or later, her essence echoes in everything around him, even in the gaze of a passing dog or the flutter of wings on a still afternoon. These are not signs to fear. They are confirmations from the cosmos that his soul is waking up, and she is part of the reason why. Number 6. A vision of the future he can't explain, when the soul remembers what the mind cannot. There are moments when reality bends, not in grand, mystical ways, but in soft, quiet flickers that feel more true than the world around him. It happens late at night, when the world is still and his thoughts are unguarded, or during mundane pauses, waiting at a red light, sitting alone with a cup of coffee, walking through a quiet park. Out of nowhere, he sees it. Not a dream, not a fantasy, but a vision. A glimpse into a life that hasn't happened yet, but feels as though it always has. He sees a kitchen bathed in golden morning light, a soft laugh echoing through a space he's never stood in, but instantly knows. He feels the warmth of a hand brushing against his, the comfort of a shared silence. There's someone beside him. Her face may be turned, her image not always clear, but his soul knows. It's her. Not just the woman he longs for, but the one his spirit has known through lifetimes. The one who awakened this part of him that can no longer pretend to be numb. He doesn't speak of it, not because he's afraid, but because it feels sacred. This vision isn't meant to be dissected or justified. It isn't proof. It's a promise. It doesn't beg for attention or validation. It simply returns, again and again, like a heartbeat echoing in the background of his life. And with every appearance, it leaves behind a trace of hope. Not the kind that clings, but the kind that steadies, anchors, guides. He doesn't chase it, he honors it, because something inside him knows this isn't wishful thinking, it's a remembering. A breadcrumb trail laid by the universe, reminding him that what he feels is real, that he's not walking blindly, but toward a future that already exists in the realm of the soul. A future where love is not about finding someone new, but coming home to what was always meant. And though he cannot explain it, he no longer needs to, because the vision doesn't ask for understanding. It simply asks that he keeps walking, one faithful step at a time. There are truths the heart understands long before the mind can explain them. In the stillness of the divine masculine's journey, there is a quiet unraveling, a sacred decoding of signs not written in words, but etched in energy. While others may only witness his distance, what truly unfolds beneath the surface is an awakening through subtle whispers, a dream that lingers, a song that stirs something ancient, an animal that locks eyes and lingers a second too long. These are not coincidences. They are sacred cues from the universe, calling him home, not only to the love he feels for her, but to the deeper love he must reclaim within himself. For the divine feminine, this is your reminder. Your presence, your light, and your unwavering heart are not going unnoticed. He feels you, beyond logic, beyond time, beyond physical space. And your trust in the unseen becomes the torch that lights his path. This connection doesn't begin with a declaration. It begins with remembrance, with the soul recognizing its mirror and answering its call. And to the divine masculine who may still be walking in silence, know that the universe is not confusing you. It is guiding you. The emotions you can't explain, the longing you can't shake, the visions you pretend not to see, they are all love, speaking in the language of spirit. You do not need to understand every step. You only need to follow what feels real in the depths of your being. Because when both souls surrender to what they feel rather than what they fear, the reunion doesn't feel forced. It feels inevitable, natural, divine, as if it had been there all along. If this touched something deep within you, we invite you to leave a comment below with the affirmation, "I trust the signs." Let this be your vow to the soul's knowing. Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who might need this message, and subscribe for more sacred insights from the spiritual universe. And before you go, watch the next video below the screen. It may be the sign you were meant to receive today. Until then, stay open, stay trusting, and remember, the soul always knows the way.